So when you take a breath in through your nose, you're forcing air to go through this labyrinth. So it goes through this very ornate structure of turbinates and various levels of them. And those turbinates are covered with mucosa, which is covered with mucous membrane, which is covered with, behind it is erectile tissue. So there are all these different structures in your nose. And by forcing air through your nose, you're slowing it down, which is good. You're pressurizing it, which is good. You're filtering it because our noses are also covered with millions and millions of cilia, which just grab particulate and other problems. And you are also increasing your nitric oxide, which interacts directly with viruses and bacteria. So we know that because, 15 years ago when SARS came around, they were exposing mammalian cells to nitric oxide and found that those cells would live so much longer in the presence of nitric oxide. A lot of people, when they hear this, they just drop the ball and say, I'm going to breathe through my nose all the time. I'm going to go out and run, do CrossFit, breathe through my nose. It doesn't work like that. You have to build this foundation and move very slowly. And one thing that Patrick McEwen and Anders Olsen and other breathing therapists have told me, they said, never work out harder than you can breathe correctly. So if your breathing is going to hell and your breathing is becoming dysfunctional, slow down, build that base, and slowly work back up. As Westerners, we want instant results for everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes things take time, and changing a habit that you've had for 30 years from mouth breathing when you're working out to nasal breathing can take some time. But we know that there's so many benefits associated with nasal breathing while you're working out, while you're sleeping, while you're at rest, whenever. This is the pathway through which we should be breathing air. So I thought I was pretty hosed in middle age. You hear about when you're developing, it's much easier to adjust your mouth, to increase airway size, to fix stuff, because your body is much more plastic, and every year you're developing more and more. Youth was decades ago for me. So I said, what can I do? And some dentists said, not a lot. You're pretty much stuck with what you have. But then others were saying, no, you can show huge improvements. So you can wear appliances that can broaden your palate, can increase your airway size vastly. But you can just chew food as well, and you can do oral pharyngeal exercises. There's this amazing study in CHEST where they had these people who had chronic snoring and sleep apnea, and they had them do 30 rounds of these simple exercises. Our tongue is this powerful muscle, and if we're not using it throughout the day, if we're just eating soft foods and it's just sitting there lolling around, it's going to grow out of shape just like anything else. So by exercising the tongue, you can help open the airway. And that paper really convinced me that there was something strong going on here. And yet, who hears about this? When you have snoring and sleep apnea, it's like, here's your CPAP. Oh, you snore. Here's, some drugs to put you asleep a little further, which is going to make you snore even more, and your sleep quality is going to get worse. So, this isn't fringe research. That's what was throughout this book, that this was not stuff being conducted at some weirdo university.
No.
These are top institutions in top scientific journals, top researchers working on this stuff. And it just doesn't seem to be disseminated to any of us, not in academia.